I got home so late. I'm so exhausted. You have no idea.
I believe it. That sounds. I wouldn't want to be on air as exhausted either.
I
Oh,
mean,
wait. I think it's putting us live, guys. We are live.
we are live?
Yep.
It's live for 17 seconds. Sorry. Hey, what happened? What happened to the music? Okay. Hi. Good morning, everybody. I think we're live. I don't know what happened, but anyways, luckily I didn't say anything offensive to anyone. So I'll tell you why I'm all flustered. It has a lot to do with the Lemonheads, okay? Hello. So Andy, roll the music. Powder time. Actually, I was just covering up this, which was my ingrown hair. That's it. Not really powder. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good to see you this morning. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to tell you why, because I was out late last night, and I blame it all on some Lemonheads by the name of Beth Collier and Maureen Marfell. Yes, I blame them. I'm going to get right off the top. I'm going to start with you guys, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about. Do you guys have the pictures of those guys, of the Lemonheads last night? I did a book event in Oyster Bay, Long Island, and if we have their pictures, we'll put them up. But anyway, I got to meet the Lemonheads. I didn't even realize it was them. Good morning, Don in the Lemonheads, says Essie Stone. So on your left of your screen is Beth Collier. Beth is from upstate New York. I think I can't even think about. Anyway, Buffalo. And then that is Maureen Marfell, came all the way from the Pacific Northwest, which is San Francisco. And we had a great time. They were at the book thing with me last night. We took pictures. You guys can scroll through if you have a couple of them. We took photographs. And then at the end of the night, this is why I'm so tired, we actually went and had a drink. And I'll tell you, someone had a, let's see, I think a rosé. Maureen had a rosé, and Beth had a black Russian, but they made her a white Russian. And she said, "No, I want a black Russian," and I had a little margarita late. So there we go. Guys, thank you for showing up. And they were so excited. We met people, and we were at the bar at a restaurant. We just went next door right down the street from the bookstore. We went to a restaurant, and went to a little bar and had a drink and talked about everything, and I learned a lot about them, and I want to learn a lot about all of you. So, and there were people at the bar talking about us, and they were telling everybody about our show, and they should subscribe, and we met all these friends, someone from North Carolina. There we are, that's at the book signing last night, and at the book talk, I read the book. They were sitting on the front row, and I was like, who are these ladies? They seem like a little bit intimidated by me, and they were smiling, and then I said, there are some Lemonheads here somewhere, and they said, this is us right here. And they were on the front row. So thank you. And thank you, because some of them, Beth said that she's actually sent books to some of the people who are part of the LemoNation. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. And thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate you joining. I read your card, Beth. It's so beautiful. And your gift was so beautiful. And I got other cards and gifts from people who are there, but it's just, I mean, literally, it means the world to me. So there's a lot going on in the world, but there's nothing more important than the people who support you. And you guys support me, and I really appreciate it. I will always appreciate it, and I will always give back everything that I can to you. Beth says, Dear Don, I'm from Orchard Park, New York. Orchard Park, not Buffalo, home of the Bills. I've been a Lemonhead from the beginning. In March, as Beth H., now Collier, I'm pleased to attend your book signing event, and it is a thrill to meet you. And then she goes on, and she brought me some candy and some chocolate sponge and some other stuff, some chocolates from her home where she lives. Thank you. And then Manny, Manny came all the way from Lancaster, Pennsylvania last night with his dog, Coco. It was great. A lot of folks there. It was a great turnout. And so thanks, everyone. really, really appreciate it, okay? So what am I going to talk about this morning? I have no idea. As you can see, look, your comments are up on your screen. We told you we're going to be interactive. You'll get to talk to us. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, says Tamala. Thank you very much for that. I love you guys too. Tampa Bay in the house. Maggie Cat Orky from Tampa Bay. Las Vegas, Jenny, good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. A Brooklyn transplant in the UK, DL. San Francisco, Kyoko, Adrian Goodman, you're up on the screen now. So thank you. A memory I will never forget. Oh, your daughter cast their vote for the vice president. Did you guys vote yet? Early voting where you are? So great. Okay, look. So much fun. I thought this was amazing. I'm going to start with the most amazing moment, which I did, meeting the Lemonheads, but the next amazing moment. Hi, Central Ontario. Joanne, Leslie, hello. Far Rockaway, I have a friend who's in Far Rockaway, Jasmine Intarian. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. I think this was the best, most amazing moment that I have seen on the campaign trail, and if you don't know how to deal with a heckler, this is a masterclass in dealing with a heckler. This is the vice president. When some hecklers showed up at her event, her rally in Wisconsin yesterday, this is how she dealt with it. Here it is.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street. Come on.
That is amazing. I mean, that is very quick. And that is, remember when I said unleash the Kamala, what they should be doing and should have done? That's what they should have done a long time ago. But I'm so glad that it's happening now. Yes, indeed, Dawn Farmer. That is a mic drop moment right there. That was a mic drop moment. And I'm so glad that she got to do it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. What did you guys think? Dana Carey says she dragged them with a smile. What did you guys think of that moment? Because I thought it was pretty amazing that she could do something and be that quick with getting it out there, with saying what she said. So again, I'm so glad that you guys are here. And I am really, 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 really glad that they are letting her be herself, finally, for a minute, for a moment. And I think that's saying I'm trying to get this all fixed because I want to make sure that we get this done properly. Okay? All righty. Sorry about that, guys. I'm a little bit out of it today. Anyway, I'll fix that. We'll fix that later. All right. So, yeah. So we're happy that you're here. Let's see what we're going to discuss this morning. We have a host of hot topics to discuss this morning, from the drama at the Al Smith dinner last night to Trump canceling yet another interview last minute because of exhaustion, to developments in the scandalous RFK Jr. Olivia Nuzzi saga. So if you don't know what that is the alleged affair, apparently, that a New York Magazine reporter had with RFK. And I think, at least admit it to him. I don't even know if it's alleged right now, okay? I don't even know if it's alleged right now. So here's the deal. So let me tell you about the Al Smith dinner, okay? The Al Smith dinner is something that they have annually in New York, and usually the presidential candidates and politicians go. So the former President Donald Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris, both delivered remarks to the Al E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner. The Vice President did it in a recorded video, and the former president did it in person in a ballroom in Manhattan, packed with New York's political elite, most of them conservative Republicans, even though Chuck Schumer was there, business leaders, religious luminaries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Donald Trump rushed through his prepared remarks, and he was reading the entire time. Usually people sort of go off the cuff. They don't really read as much. He was stumbling at times. He read through these political jokes, bitter personal attacks. And so I want to show what he did. And, you know, it's a little weird because I'm not sure exactly what he was saying. Sometimes he could barely read. So this is him at the Al Smith dinner, some of his remarks. Here it is.
To think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Okay, not funny. I mean, the first rule of comedy is that it has to be funny. Andy, can you turn the volume down in my ear a little bit? It's a little loud. It's blaring. So not funny, right? He sounds feeble and weak, says Sarah Christine. He sounds like it's usually when you get up there, you try to, you do poke at your opponent or whatever. You do jabs, but not personal, and you don't degrade people. So it's why? And it was embarrassing. It was not good. It was not good. Thanks for those of you who are watching us on TikTok. We're live here on the YouTube, so you can go to the Don Lemon Show on YouTube, and your comments, we'll get your comments up because we have their comments up and we're reading them, right? Donald is senile, says Dior Cindaria. I don't know about that, but the jokes were not funny, and he was reading them. And at points, he could barely get through them and read words. I forget what, there was a word that he could not read and that he could not get through, okay? So that was his top 5 jokes. Then there's him talking about Joe Biden at the Al Smith dinner. Tell me if you think this is funny as well.
If Democrats really wanted to have someone not be with us this evening, they would have just sent Joe Biden. I don't like that, but apparently Joe didn't think it was fair for me to have the podium to myself with Kamala skipping the event. So he called, looked at me, and said, "Don't." Does anybody understand that? Yeah. I thought it was actually very good until just now. It was announced this morning that at a funeral yesterday, in a rare moment of clarity, Joe told Barack Hussein Obama that, quote, only a few people got that.
Not funny.
Or as Rush Limbaugh used to say, Barack Hussein Obama. Remember, bro? He was a piece of work. We miss him. But as he told Barack Hussein Obama, quote, "She's not as strong as me. She's not as strong. Do you understand that?" And Obama agreed, saying, "That's true. Other than that, I think the Democrats are getting along quite well." Right? Nobody got that one. The fact is, we need new leadership in this country. Right now, we have someone in the White House who can barely talk, barely put together 2 coherent sentences, who seems to have mental faculties of a child, it's said. There's a person that has nothing going, no intelligence whatsoever, but enough about Kamala Harris. Let's get on to something. On the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become, if Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Okay, look. If stuff is funny, like I love comedy. I watch a lot of stand-up all the time. And sometimes even if they make jokes about people you like, if they're funny, you laugh. Yeah, I felt the same way, Andrea Parker. He is describing himself because he could barely read. He just kind of sounds like this. He could barely read the jokes. Blah, 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 right? There were some funny people at the Al Smith dinner. Donald Trump was not one of them. Again, he had trouble reading. Does he have trouble reading? I'm serious. Does he have trouble reading? So you remember when Donald Trump was on SNL? And you have to have meetings where you read through the bits and the skits and all of that. He kept stumbling over words, and there were some of the things that he couldn't pronounce, and he had trouble last night. Well, Pete Davidson was recently on a radio show, on a podcast or a radio show, and he actually talked about that. And I mean, it's just sort of apropos that this is coming out around the same time. But watch this from Pete Davidson.
Trump, you were telling me.
I have one story I'm allowed to tell, and it's hilarious.
You have stories you're not allowed to tell? What happened with the Trump story?
Okay, so he's like, he doesn't really know how to read.
For real?
Yeah, and he loves to improv.
Yeah.
So during like the table read, he before we were gonna before he had to read each line, and he's the host, so he's at everything.
Yeah.
He would go, I'm not going to say this. I think I'm going to say it the way I want to say it. Is that okay? Is that okay, Lauren? Is that everything? And everybody's like, what? And then this is my favorite part is there was a sketch that we wrote where he's at Disneyland with his daughter, and the line is, all right, let's get out of here. Turkey legs? Let's go get turkey legs? And he doesn't know how to read. So he went, all right, let's get out of here, turkey legs. He called his daughter turkey legs.
Maybe that was his improv.
Oh, no, it wasn't. And then he looked up, he doesn't get it. He thinks if everybody's laughing with him, but we're all laughing at him. And it was crazy. He would be like, I did a good job, right? And we're like, yeah.
Did he need reassurance, a lot of reassurance, or was he pretty confident?
He constantly kept saying how amazing the ratings were going to be.
And they were.
He's like, this is going to be number one.
So, look, unprompted, Pete Davidson, that's what he said. Someone in the chat said exactly what Pete Davidson said, that he thinks that people are laughing with him, they're laughing at him. And my opinion says yes, which is why he never follows a teleprompter, because he can't really read what's on the teleprompter. I don't know if you guys can find it. Find that, please. There's a clip of him trying to say Arizonans. If you find it, let me know. And he's like, these Azurasians, he has trouble. And look, everybody has a little trouble with a teleprompter. Sometimes it goes too fast, or there are words that are misspelled, or sometimes the words are too long and they break up. But this is different. So Leslie Peter says, who's Pete? Pete Davidson is one of the players on Saturday Night Live. I'm not sure if Pete is still on there, but he was on Saturday Night Live. He actually dated Kim Kardashian, if you don't know. But anyways, he's a comedian, stand-up comedian, and a bit player on Saturday Night Live. So there were people who were at the Al Smith dinner who are actually funny, and it is the man who plays... Gaffigan plays who on SNL? He plays Tim Walz on SNL. Yeah, right. He plays Tim Walz because, what's his name, plays Doug Imhoff, the second gentleman. Okay, so this is Jim Gaffigan who plays Tim Walz on SNL. And see if you get the joke. But I think he's kind of funny. You tell me.
You know, during the first and only debate, President Trump talked about migrants taking cats and eating them. You know, if you're keeping track at home, this is the second time grabbing a kitty has been part of a campaign issue. You know, I was going to leave that out. But there's, you know, here's the thing that's so amazing about Donald Trump.
Okay. Someone said in the chat, Disco Ball Glitter says Jim Gaffigan was much harder on Harris than Trump. I didn't see the whole thing, but I hear that's true, so I'll have to see. But I think that was funny because he's talking about grabbing by the P words, right? That was pretty funny. So regardless of whatever platform you're on, if you are on TikTok, you make sure you hit the heart button and follow us. We're doing a live show TikTok, by the way. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. We're on the YouTube at The Don Lemon Show, okay? It's TikTok, if you're tuning in, and you can go on. You can subscribe and get your comments read. And you can become part of the LemoNation. So there were some folks who were actually funny. Now, you know what was interesting and maybe not so funny about the dinner? Was interesting because there were a lot of people there. I want you to, oh wait, no, listen. This is how the vice president responded. The vice president did not go. And we're going to talk about that. The vice president did not go to the dinner, but she sent this video, okay? Watch.
Provides a rare opportunity to set aside partisanship.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's going on? Who was that?
Oh, sorry, Mary Catherine Elliott. Mary Catherine Elliott. It's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Mary Catherine. Right now I'm trying to record my speech for tonight's dinner.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
It is a very important dinner, and it's an important tradition that I'm so proud to be a part of.
Sometimes when I get nervous, I stick my fingers under my arms and I simmer them like that. But that's gross.
So tell me something. I'm giving a speech. Do you have some thoughts about what I might say tonight?
My feelings about what you should say tonight would be best expressed in a monologue from one of my favorite made-for-TV series.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't you see, man? We need a woman to represent us. A woman brings more heart, more compassion. And think how smart she must be to become a top contender in a field dominated by men. It's time for a woman, bro. And with this woman, we can fly.
Pause.
What series was that from?
Okay, so I thought this was an interesting one because I don't know the last time I've seen this skit on Saturday Night Live, right? Did you guys think this was funny? I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty funny. What did you guys think? Okay, so listen, you can pull it down. All right, so but this was she's Mary Catherine Galler. It's Molly Shannon. She played that character on SNL. Wow, I mean a decade, if not more, ago, and she was actually movies. I loved Molly Shannon. But did you guys think it was funny? I thought it was funny. Some people thought it was a little cringe. I think she has a sense of humor. Now here's the thing. She did not go to this dinner, and people are criticizing her. They're saying, you know, this is a Catholic dinner. She should go. I effing love it, Don. Okay, thank you. Thank you. You thought it was brilliant. Okay, great. Okay. You guys thought it was funnier at the end. All right, do you guys want to see it to the end? If you think it was funnier, okay, go ahead. Let's roll it. Let's roll the rest of it.
Oh, that's from House of Dragons, now streaming on HBO Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just so you know, there will be a fact checker there tonight.
Oh, that's great. Who?
Jesus. And maybe don't say anything negative about Catholics.
I would never do that, no matter where I was. That would be like criticizing Detroit in Detroit.
Does it bother you that Trump guy insults you all the time? Because it really bothers my friends and me.
Oh, Mary Catherine, it's very important to always remember you should never let anyone tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
Haters gonna hate. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Good for you, Mary Catherine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And also remember one more thing. Don't worry if you make a mistake, 'cause Catholic people are very forgiving. Yeah, and also, one last thing I want to tell you, don't forget to say, superstar!
Thank you, Mary Catherine.
Thank you, Mama La.
Thank you.
Mama La.
Your Eminence and distinguished guest. The Al Smith dinner provides a...
So then she talks about what the Al Smith dinner is and whatever. So I thought it was funny. And then when you have these things without a laugh track, and the reason you saw it was on Fox News, so they were like, it's cringe, she didn't go, so they were totally criticizing her about not going. Again, we are streaming on, I want to tell you guys, we're streaming on YouTube. We're also streaming on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, you can go to YouTube and you get your comments read. You can join the LemoNation. Okay, so here's what I want to say. All this criticism that she's getting for not going, I actually think it was a good move. You tell me. Because everyone is talking about how serious this election is, right? What's on the line. It has been very contentious between the two candidates. She has said that he's a threat to democracy. He calls her terrible names, the R word, right, which is for mentally sort of incapacitated people. I won't even say that. I can say it. He calls her retarded, which is a word that people don't use anymore. He calls her a communist, where he calls her Comrade Kamala, and all kinds of terrible names. So to be seen on stage or even in the same room, sort of yucking it up in this time, I think would have been a bad idea. I think would have been a bad idea to do. I really do. And so what do you think? And so I think for her sending a video was really smart. And I just don't think that she needed to go. I really don't. Do you think it was smart? I'm sure she didn't want to sit in a room with him kikiing like it's not a horrible person. I agree that someone in the chat says that. I didn't get the name. It's awful, says Beth Bear. I agree. I think she did the best thing, says Dawn. I really believe the same thing. I think she did the best thing by not going. Because in this day and time, there's a lot to say. There's a lot going on. So, you know, I don't know. People also need to laugh too, right? I think that people need to laugh, but I don't think that she needs to be seen on stage yucking it up. I sent you some pictures, producers, that we can, let me know when you can get them up. Because this dinner, because of everything that's going on at this dinner and all the serious things that are on the line, okay? Now I'm going to show you some of the folks who were at the dinner who are involved in some scandalous things. And that is, now he is I don't know if he's a vice presidential contender. He was a presidential contender. I say that he is the de facto Republican vice presidential contender. We haven't seen that much of him, but initially when he came out to support Donald Trump, we did see a lot of him. And that's RFK Jr., who was at that dinner last night.
We will break $10 million.
Now look at him. That's Cheryl Hines' wife. Look, canoodling, as they say, smooching it up.
And tell him he should give more money.
You guys know who that is?
It's pretty impressive. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, it could get you a studio apartment in Manhattan, which seems, you know, expensive, especially considering.
So those guys are there, and RFK Jr. has been involved with this scandal with I don't know, she's former, I guess she still works with them. She's maybe on suspension now or on leave for New York Magazine. A New York Magazine writer, Olivia Nuzzi. And apparently, you know, people were writing, oh, that's his wife, Cheryl Hines. Cheryl Hines has been seen without her wedding ring. There was an affair. I don't know if he admitted to the affair, but Olivia Nuzzi, the magazine writer, admitted to the affair, and it's showing up in court paperwork because this bitter, increasingly public feud between politicos, it's a political online news operation. His name is Ryan Lizza, right? And he's also a contributor. He was one at CNN, and he's been in politics, been a contributor forever. And New York Magazine's Olivia Nuzzi took a more salacious turn just this week. There's a court filing that was made public on Tuesday. It was first reported by the Daily Beast, where Lizza denied the allegations made in his ex-fiance's initial petition for a protective order. It was filed 2 weeks ago, including that he intentionally leaked her alleged affair with the former presidential candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., to her employer, and that he blackmailed her. So in this court filing, his ex-fiancee admitted, this is a quote, that the toxic relationship to him admitted claims that the toxic relationship to him, sharing that Kennedy wanted to possess, control, and impregnate her. In the court filing, Liza claims his ex-fiancée admitted the toxic relationship to him, sharing that Kennedy wanted to possess, control, and impregnate her. Wow. Liza added that Nuzzi told him there was a huge power disparity between them and that he manipulated her. Wait. There's more. Liza claims this is the first time Nuzzi, this isn't the first time that Nuzzi cheated on him. In this filing, he suggests that it's the second time Nuzzi has been involved with a presidential candidate running for office during an election cycle. Now, I think he sort of alluded to or put into court documents and papers that they believe it was 2020. Okay. Or maybe it was 2016. I don't know. But if you look at the people who ran for president then, I mean, let's just put it up. We don't know. But who ran in 2020? Sanders, Gabbard, Warren, Bloomberg, Klobuchar, Buttigieg, Steyer, Deval Patrick, Andrew Yang, Bennett, Delancey, Cory Booker, Marianne Williamson, Castro, Kamala Harris, Bullock, remember, with the cowboy boots, Beto O'Rourke, Bill de Blasio, former mayor, Jay Inslee, Hickenlooper, Eric Swalwell. Who could it be? Who could it be? That's interesting to me. I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating. Now, did the vice president want to be seen with that? I don't know. I don't really think so. I think that was the right thing for her to do in this moment. Okay? I think it was the right thing for her to do in this moment. Now, speaking of the right thing to do in this moment, and whether it's appropriate to be kikiing and ha-haing, considering what's happening. Thank you, LemoNation. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. If you are watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on, not on YouTube, if you're watching us on TikTok, make sure you also hit the thumbs up, okay? Okay, so, sorry about that. I'm getting a note from somebody. Okay. There we go. Thank you. So I'm getting a notice from someone. So let's talk about The View, because The View believes the same thing. So the 2024, as we know, the presidential election, it's less than a month away, right? And so the women on The View, they have been talking, it's all they've been talking about. Remember, they had the vice president on, they have had Donald Trump on before. And so, they've been sitting around and they've been talking very seriously about what's happening in the country. So on Tuesday's episode of the ABC show Roundtable, behind the scenes, this is their table talk, they call it, this is their podcast, Behind the Table podcast. The executive producer is Brian Teta. He revealed to his co-host Joy Behar that they will not have a Halloween episode for the first time in 28 years. The first time in 28 years. He says, I'm going to announce something today that is going to upset a portion of our audience, but I think it's going to make you happy, he told Behar. This year, because it's only a few days before the election and we need to be live, the hosts are not going to dress up for Halloween. They're not going to dress up for Halloween. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? Because if you have someone on a show saying, you know what, I'm not going to dress up for Halloween, We think it's too serious. I'm of two minds. I'm of two minds, okay? And I'll tell you why. First off, thank you, Quita. First off, I just want to show you something that Tim and I did a couple years ago in homage to the ladies of The View for Halloween. Let's put it up. Now, see if you can figure out what this is. Do you guys know who that is? That's me on the left. That's Tim on the right. That's Whoopi and Joy. And so that's what we went and for Halloween then. That's what we went as for Halloween then. And then, just last year, this is our Halloween costume with the American flags. This was our Halloween costume. There's Tim on the left and me on the right. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We had no idea that Kamala Harris was going to become the presidential candidate. No idea. If we had known, we might have saved it for this year. Okay? So the other ones I don't think we need to show, but I just think, what do you think? I think that the women of The View have a point, okay? I actually think I think it's the producers of The View. I actually think that the vice president has a bigger point and better point than the folks over at The View. Because the vice president, as I said, doesn't want to be seen yucking it up with a person who is actually very dangerous for democracy. But I think people do need to laugh because everyone is so serious and they're so nervous and they're concerned. So I don't know, I'm of two minds about it. I think it's okay for some people because they just need to get it off their chest. They need to, you know, relax, decompress, breathe a little bit, and have a little bit of fun. So if you guys want to put a poll up, you could say, I mean, should we be celebrating Halloween this year? Is it appropriate to do so? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, because I'm of two minds about it. Not with the vice president, but with the ladies of The View. Okay? I want to stick with this Al Smith dinner real quickly because I told you about, you heard Pete Davidson saying that the former president has trouble reading sometimes. This is him trying to read something off of a teleprompter at a rally. Now, he's trying to say Arizonans, and this is what he came up with.
Thank you, Tanya. Oh, beautiful. You look great. Thank you, darling. Also, we have many Azerasians in our room. We have some incredible people in our room. We have so many that we just can't. But we have some people. We have some people in our room that I'm not going to mention because they fully understand why. Because I don't have time. But Robert O'Brien, I'm mentioning because he's the one that got the 300 plus people. So Robert O'Brien, please stand up. Thank you.
Yeah. So Azerasians, I don't know. I mean, I think it's really weird, a little bit odd that he can't read that, and someone didn't say Arizonans. And it was like an Azerasian, wouldn't he know? Shouldn't he know? Okay, I don't know. Now, I want to move on and talk about this is something that I think is very serious. Where during the interview on Fox News, day before yesterday, the vice president was asked about the former president, Donald Trump, talking about the enemy from within, and that people on the left or his political enemies should be handled by the National Guard or the military or the police, basically turning the military or police on to average citizens in the United States. During that interview, Bret Baier ran a clip that was not right. And Kamala Harris, the vice president, called him out on it during the interview. She caught it, he didn't. he's the media professional, she's the politician, she caught it, but he didn't. And then I showed you yesterday on my social media, I said, Fox News needs to address this because it's egregious, and because the people in there that watch them are in an echo chamber, a media bubble, and they don't get outside of it. And they will never hear the truth, and that it was misleading. Okay. Some people said, no, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I said they should address it. And they did. Here it is.
Make a mistake, and I want to say that mistake. When I called for a soundbite, I was expecting a piece of the enemy from within, from Maria Bartiromo's interview, to be tied to the piece from your town hall, Harris, where you asked the former president about the enemy from within. It just had the piece about the town hall, and just take a listen to what I meant to roll.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
My point is that we asked him the question about that sentence and what he was trying to mean.
Okay. What do you guys think? Short but sweet. I'm not sure if it's been addressed on the air beyond that. Do you think it's enough? I think it's important that we get the truth out. I think it's important that Fox News does that. Every news organization, every independent person, I think it's important. Kay Wrights 622 says, clean up on aisle Fox, or something like that. This is the full clip where he talks, and so there's no, even Glenn Youngkin was on CNN saying that that's not what Donald Trump was saying, even his own words. And Jake Tapper said, I'm reading an exact quote from him. So just for those people out there who believe that, okay, this was sort of an innocent mistake, or that Donald Trump never said that, or he was talking about, illegal immigrants or protesters who were trying to, hurt someone or cause trouble, that's not what he said. Okay? This is the full clip, and I don't think there's any discrepancy. I think he was very clear about what he meant. Here it is.
Let's remember, you've got 50,000 Chinese nationals in this country in the last couple of years. Yeah. You have people on the terrorist watch list, 350 in the last couple of years. You got, like you said, 13,000 murderers and 15,000 rapists. Right. What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
Was there, did he stutter? Do you guys do you not have hearing? He's saying, I don't think it's the outside, the people coming from outside. I think it's the enemy from within. And then there's another clip where he says the same thing, and he actually reels off the names of the people like Schiff, right? And his political enemies. That people he perceives to be his political enemies. The enemy from within, that's what he said. No one should be yucking it up with him at a stupid dinner, says Amandi. Yes, when he says things like that. That is what's at stake. And so I think it was very clear. I really want to know what you guys think. Do you think that I think that is so egregious for them to do that. And I've had the wrong clip rolled, and look, Brett Baer is not in there cutting the clips. But if I had the wrong clip in the moment, I would say, well, that's not actually the full thing. I wanted something different to roll. Let me just be very clear, whoever you're interviewing, that wasn't the right clip. Right, and right in context, this is what he said. He did say that it was the enemy from within and blah, blah, blah. And you're right, but he never said that until afterwards. But how is that the wrong clip? Is it the wrong clip, or you just didn't put the full context? I don't know. I think that is a huge, egregious mistake, and it needs to be for as many people, the millions of people who watched that interview. Your response to that, or if it's an apology or a correction, needs to be broadcast as loudly or as big as you can get it to match that audience that heard the wrong thing. Because you put things out there and people believe it, and then most of the time the correction or the apology barely gets the amount of attention and doesn't get as big a platform as when you put out the wrong information. That's what I believe. And that is the full clip. Okay? Now, there are people, because he says things like that, where he talks about people who are bad and immigrants and all of those things, there are people who are saying, Kamala Harris can't win. If Kamala Harris wins, then I'm going to go get out of this country. Now, do they understand what they're saying? Because of the immigration problem. They're saying there's so many immigrants, they're taking over, they're taking our jobs, they're doing all of these things. When people aren't coming here because they hate America, they're coming here because they love America. They're coming here because they think there's a better life in America for them and their families. Now, again, that's not, there can be two things, more than one thing can be true. We need to get a fix on our immigration problem. There may be some issues with immigrants as it relates to the law or what have you, even though immigrants are way least likely to commit a crime, and the stats show that, than native-born Americans. But to say that you are going to leave America because of the immigrants are coming in, I don't think people get the logic in that in their own minds. I want you to watch this from our friends over at The Good Liars. Pay close attention.
Trump lost the state of Pennsylvania, and that cost him the election.
I've already talked to my wife about it. We don't know what country we're moving to if he loses the election. I don't want to live here anymore.
Really? You'd move out of the United States?
I want to move out of the United States, whether it's Italy, Switzerland. I'm Italian American. I have Irish in me. I don't think I want to stay here if he loses.
Really? You'd leave the country?
I would leave the country. I mean that. Let me ask you a question. Where else in the world could 20 million illegal immigrants enter a nation and be allowed to do it? Me, a law-abiding citizen, but I'm 63 years old. I couldn't go to any country in the whole world where they would allow me to go there. Me, John, myself, let alone 20 million people. How have we become this country?
But you want to leave the country and move someplace else and do the same thing?
What do you mean by do the same thing?
You said you want to leave the country if Trump becomes president. That's doing the same thing, searching for a better life. If Trump loses, you said you would leave the country and try and find a better life.
You know what I want to do? I want to have a little farm in like Tuscany, grow some veggies, take it easy, wake up.
Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same thing? These people are coming here for a better life. You want to go someplace else for a better life because you don't want to live here if Trump's not president?
No, it's not the same thing.
Not?
No.
So you want to immigrate to another country because you don't like the life that you have, that's what you're perceiving, in America, and you want to go to another country, which is basically you're doing the same thing as an immigrant into America. But you don't see the hypocrisy and how contradictory that is. Do you guys know what cognitive dissonance is? Being Nancy says he's delusional. Yes. I mean, don't get it. People don't, as the former President Barack Obama said, people come up with myriad excuses for either their bigotry, their racism, their whatever, their misogyny, when they just don't want. I ask people all the time, like, why don't you support Kamala Harris? Because I just don't, they can't really come up with anything. I don't like her policies. What policies? Then they can't name them. I don't like what she did as Attorney General. And what was that? Then they can't name it. Why do you like Trump? For his policies. What policies? And then they can't name them. It's much like this gentleman in this TikTok video. I like to show you things that are streaming, that are online, because look, a lot of people are getting, most people now are getting their information. That's where they're getting it, from streaming, from digital. I thought this was a very clever TikTok, speaking of TikTok video of someone saying that he's a Trump supporter and Trump has been so great for his life. And his friend is like, what the hell are you talking about, man? Watch this.
That's like what you're saying right now. No.
Now, at least in the moment he got it. I don't know if he's going to change his vote or change his, what he says. What Donald Trump has done for me compared to Barack Obama. Yeah, I would have come back like the health care he tried to take away for you that you're probably on now, or that you can get on even though you're unemployed. Like the good economy that he left behind. All those things. So the guy says, he goes, compared to what Barack Obama has done for me, did for me, compared to what Trump has done. And the guy says, what are you talking about? You have 2 DUIs and you're unemployed. You don't have a job. What are you talking about? It's just that simple. Again, it's a cult. But he is not the only one who feels that way, okay? Because there is someone who is very close to the former president, very, very close, wants to be his right-hand man, who actually said similar things about Donald Trump not so long ago. Play it.
So one of the takeaways is not just that the Republican Party base is somehow fundamentally flawed in a way that's unique in American political history. It's that Trump is a really bad candidate, and frankly, I think a really bad person.
Frankly, a really bad person. Now that should go up there with the clips of J.D. Vance, who's running to be his vice president, of him actually equating Donald Trump, saying that he's one of the worst Americans, and also saying he is the modern day version, these are his words, not mine, of Hitler. That's what he said, J.D. Vance. That's what J.D. Vance said. Now, I have a salty language warning that how I think when people do things that don't make sense, when they do things that are racist, bullying, sexist, homophobic, any of those things, I've always said I believe that you have to call people out in the moment in the sternest way possible. Like you have to just stop them in their tracks to wake them up. Again, salty language from a salty dog, right? So if you're at work, turn the volume down. If you're in your car, you're by yourself, turn it up. Because Snoop Dogg was on a radio show and someone asked him, it could be a podcast, I don't know, or both. And someone, the guy said, I don't want to say because the people that follow me or the people who love me or some of my listeners or whatever, they actually like the guy and they get mad. It shouldn't matter. People should be told the truth. And Snoop Dogg said, F that. Here it is. Listen.
Politics real quick. Now, we all hear, I apologize. Nah, I really don't apologize.
Wait, pause this.
Get mad at me when
So this may limit, we know, our ads, but you guys want to hear it? Okay. Let's hear it. Here it is.
I talk bad about him, but I think it's safe to say most people in our culture do not
Well,
rock
you need
with
to
Donald
know
Trump.
that. You need to know that a lot of your fans is racist. Ain't no fucking way around. Don't even try to put no.
I don't even want to put anything around
I
it yet.
do. I don't give a fuck. I tell him straight up, motherfucker. If you like that nigga, you motherfucking racist. Fuck you and fuck him. Now what?
All right.
Draw the line, nigga. He drew the lines.
Exactly.
He drew the motherfucking lines. Before him, there were no lines. Everybody was everybody. We respected everything. We didn't trip. But nigga, when you drew the line, nigga, start pointing motherfuckers out and saying, nigga, fuck y'all then, nigga.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
You and them.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking
Kanye
about Donald
too,
Trump.
nigga. Don't forget about him too. Fuck you too.
I believe that you should have that kind of energy sometimes with this. I believe that you should have that kind of energy. And I'm putting it up there because I think it's important to point that out, regardless of everything. Because you know why? Because you have people making excuses and saying, you remember the former president was asked at a town hall on Univision about January 6th. There was a gentleman there who said, I have an issue with January 6th. I got an issue with all of that. I've got an issue. And I don't know if I can vote for you this time. I'm a former Republican. How can you win back my vote when you've done all these things? Help me, tell me. And about January 6th, Donald Trump said it was a day of love. Now, I just want to point out, this is from one of the officers at the insurrection on that day from his body camera footage. This is from Staff Sergeant Gunnell on January 6th. You tell me if this is a day of love. Here it is. Is that a day of love? Are those patriots and heroes? As Donald Trump says, are those patriots and heroes? Is that a day of love? Is that who you're supporting? To me, that's un-American. That is the opposite of patriotism. That's the opposite of Christianity, God-fearing, of being a good human being and being a good citizen. That is the opposite of that. I'm glad that Sergeant Gunnell survived that and is here to report on it. So as we know, the former president has said, the vice president has said, hey, I want another debate. Let's go back at this again so the people of America can see the distinction between us two, right? So they can get to know more about us before they go to the polls. Donald Trump lost that last debate. Everyone will tell you that, even his own people, except for him. Even his own people, they'll say it quietly. Thank you, Brigitte. I thank you for supporting independent media. But Donald Trump won't do it because he knows he lost, and I don't think he can handle it. But as with everything with Donald Trump, it's a lie or hypocrisy, or he speaks out of both sides of his mouth. And the rules are different for him. They don't apply to him. So Donald Trump has criticized people who he calls dodges debates, which is what he's doing. He's dodging the debate. He's afraid of Kamala Harris. But this is what he says about people who dodge and refuse debates. Listen closely.
You know, some of them don't have the courage to do it. I don't want to say who, but there are a couple.
We know who they are.
I mean, there are a couple of them that called me and told me, Donald, I'm just too nervous to do it. And I'm saying to myself, here's a guy that's supposed to negotiate, or a person that's supposed to negotiate against China. These guys come out of the womb, they never cry. You know, they're not even crying, and we have guys that are afraid to go into a debate.
But he's afraid to go into a debate. That's why I said, look, he talks out of both sides of his mouth. And he doesn't know what he's talking about. Also, he was supposed to sit down with the Shade Room. His folks got back, reportedly. The Shade Room is reporting, saying, you know, he's exhausted. That's what they cited. He was supposed to do other interviews, has canceled those as well. He didn't even appear on 60 Minutes. Thank you very much, Sin O. He's a hypocrite, says Lunar Love, and a liar. Most importantly, he's a loser. The comments are up on your screen now. We'll get them up if you put them on the YouTube. And make sure you hit the thumbs up. And thank you, A.J. Williams, for that generous support of independent media. Don Lemon from Murrieta, California. Murrieta, California. I'm very proud of you. I love your authenticity. You are not perfect, but you are awesome. Thank you. I agree with that. And I don't strive to be perfect. I don't think anyone should strive to be perfect. You want to see the comparison between the two candidates? Do you want to see the comparison between the two candidates? Here it is. Watch.
Trump. That's a good question. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Who are you voting?
Kamala Harris.
Let's say I'm a Republican. What would you say to make me vote for Kamala?
Oh, okay. Do you want a home?
No.
No, yeah, she has an actual plan for first-time home buyers. Do you want a business?
Yeah.
She wants to give subsidies to small businesses. When you invest in middle class, it goes back into the economy. Trump's 2018 tax cuts, they didn't go towards hiring more workers. They just went to stock buybacks. Are you a fan of stock buybacks?
Stock buybacks? I don't truthfully know what they are.
Stock buybacks are when a company buys its own stock. The wisdom is when a company does well and they make a lot of money, that money is supposed to go into hiring workers and building up their infrastructure. But it doesn't. The money has now gone into buying their own stock, and the stock buybacks generally benefit the C-suite, the executives.
What's the best thing Kamala has done since she's been in vice president?
So she has had more tie-breaking votes than anyone else. She signed off on the American Rescue Plan, saved the pension funds of a ton of unions and multi-employer pension plans. American Rescue Plan, PACT Act, the CHIPS Act. They've strengthened American manufacturing. She's been the tie-breaking vote on all of that. Let's be honest, role of vice president, your job is to break Senate ties and go to funerals. I'll give you an example. What's the best legislation you've seen a vice president pass?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me give you some context there and re-rack that one. Here's the context. So as we did, Walter Masterson, yes, as I say, Masterson, you know, he's a guy that does the, he satirizes a date right guy that says, you know, they can't even, you know, the Democrats say vote for a woman when they can't even define what a woman is. Got it. So then Walter Masterson has become famous for mocking that guy. But he is doing something similar to what we did during the convention. He's just going asking people who they're voting for. And those college students there, young men, said, I'm supporting Donald Trump because I like his policies and I just don't like what Kamala Harris stands for. She hasn't done anything. Okay? She hasn't done anything. And as with, like the gentleman earlier, comparing Barack Obama to whatever, and the guy goes, what are you talking about? You have 2 DUIs and you're unemployed. And others who cannot mention or cannot even utter a single policy that they agree or disagree with for both candidates. And so Walter said, okay, then, you know, those guys, I'm voting for Trump. And then they say, well, what is Kamala Harris, what has she accomplished? And then he reels it off. What is Donald Trump? I don't know. I just, again, pay close attention. Roll it again, please.
Trump.
That's a good question. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Who are you voting?
Kamala Harris.
Let's say I'm a Republican. What would you say to make me vote for Kamala?
Oh, okay. Do you want a home?
No.
No, yeah, she has an actual plan for first-time home buyers. Do you want a business? Yeah. She wants to give subsidies to small businesses. When you invest in middle class, it goes back into the economy. Trump's 2018 tax cuts, they didn't go towards hiring more workers, they just went to stock buybacks. Are you a fan of stock buybacks?
Stock buybacks? I don't truthfully know what they are.
Stock buybacks are when a company buys its own stock. The wisdom is when a company does well and they make a lot of money, that money is supposed to go into hiring workers and building up their infrastructure. But it doesn't. The money has now gone into buying their own stock, and the stock buybacks generally benefit the C-suite, the executives.
What's the best thing Kamala has done since she's been in vice president?
So she has had more tie-breaking votes than anyone else. She signed off on the American Rescue Plan, saved the pension funds of a ton of unions and multi-employer pension plans. American Rescue Plan, PACT Act, the CHIPS Act. They've strengthened American manufacturing. She's been the tie-breaking vote on all of that. Let's be honest, role of vice president, your job is to break Senate ties and go to funerals. I'll give you an example. What's the best legislation you've seen a vice president pass?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Exactly.
Again, logic, common sense. What's the real reason? What's the real reason? What policies can you name from Mike Pence? None. He's right. There's a certain role that the vice president usually has. But you said, Leslie Peters says, bro, he's lost. There are a lot of them. I come in contact with them every day. And especially a lot of young men. A lot of sort of midtown finance bros that they can't just say, I like the money. Just say, I want the tax cuts. Just say, I'm okay with all of the hatred and bigotry. Just say all of those things. Okay? Just say that. So, look, I want you guys to like and thumbs up. If you're over on the TikTok, make sure you go to our YouTube page, The Don Lemon Show, and you like and subscribe, and you'll get your comments up, okay? So, I appreciate you joining us. Did I run everything that I have, guys? Andy, is there anything in there that we didn't? Oh, I'm not going to run the Rihanna thing because we'll certainly get demonetized for that because it's got her songs in there. So I had something in there for Rihanna, but I'm not going to do it. That's it. That's it then. So look, make sure that you tune in today live at 5. We've got some great stuff for you. Don, you're speaking the truth. Thank you very much. Sarah D, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting independent media and everybody who supports our independent media. There's Bridget. Thank you very much. Haitian in the dancer. I can't really see. It's too small there. So thank you, Sarah D. Keep speaking truth to power. Been a fan since your time in Philly, Pennsylvania market. Wow. Channel 10. In Pennsylvania, serving Pennsylvania, Delaware, and where else? New Jersey, live. This is NBC News at 10. NBC 10 News at 10, or whatever it was. That was our little slogan there. So thank you all for watching. Give us your feedback. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for bearing with me. And then lastly, I don't know if we can get the photos of the Lemonheads back up. I'd like to give them tribute and honor and love because they came a long way to support me. So thank you, Beth. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you to Manny and for all the folks. There we go. I'm so glad that you guys, I had a great time having a drink with you, getting to know you guys, and I wish to get to know all of you Lemonheads as well. So we had a beautiful, beautiful time in Oyster Bay, New York last night. At the end, a shout out to Theodore's Bookstore. You have to go and support your independent booksellers and your independent bookstores. There's Beth. Beth, thank you. I really love learning about you and your husband. I'm sorry about what happened to your husband. Same thing for Maureen, my Valdez Maureen. Learning about your lives. And I'm so glad that you guys do have full and happy lives and that you are part of the LemoNation. So it is so appreciated. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you guys live at 5. Bye. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And also, we'd love for you to become a subscriber. So hit that button, too. We're live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Eastern, so there's plenty of content for you to check out.